You've been told fruit is always healthy. But after 60, some fruits can quietly spike your blood pressure, disrupt your medications, and even harm your kidneys. You may be trying your best eating natural, skipping desserts, replacing snacks with fruit. But what if I told you the wrong fruit can be more dangerous than a slice of cake? Many seniors still enjoy grapefruit for breakfast, or add a few tropical fruits to their smoothies. It feels smart, it feels clean. But these healthy fruits? For older adults, they can become silent threats hiding in plain sight. Why do you get dizzy after breakfast? Why did your doctor suddenly adjust your blood thinner dosage, even though your habits haven't changed? The answer may not be in your medicine cabinet, but in your fruit bowl. So let's begin with the most dangerous fruit you may be eating right now. 1. Grapefruit, the healthy fruit that could turn your medications against you. You've probably heard it 100 times. Fruit is good for you. But what if I told you there's one popular fruit that can quietly turn your medications toxic? It's grapefruit. Now, for most people, grapefruit feels like a smart, healthy choice, especially at breakfast. But here's what most doctors won't mention unless you ask. Grapefruit can interfere with over 50 common medications. Blood pressure pills, statins, anxiety meds, blood thinners, all affected. Why? Because grapefruit blocks a key enzyme in your liver called CYP3A4. And when that enzyme gets blocked, your medications don't break down properly. They stay in your system longer and stronger, sometimes too strong for your body to handle. I remember hearing about Mary. She was 65, healthy, and taking blood pressure medication. Every morning she had grapefruit with breakfast, just like she always did. One morning she fainted. No new meds, no changes, just the grapefruit finally catching up to her. That's the problem. Grapefruit looks innocent. There's no warning on the peel. But if you're over 60 and on prescriptions, this fruit can quietly sabotage your treatment plan without you ever knowing. So what can you do? Swap grapefruit for berries or oranges. They give you the vitamin C without interfering with your liver. And before bringing grapefruit back into your diet, ask your doctor or pharmacist first. Comment 1 below if you've ever had grapefruit while taking medications, or if this surprised you. 2. Star fruit, the exotic fruit that could send you to the ER. You think a little dizziness is just part of getting older? But what if I told you a single serving of this exotic fruit could quietly shut down your nervous system, especially if you have weakened kidneys? We're talking about star fruit. It looks harmless, it tastes refreshing, but inside it holds a natural neurotoxin called caramboxin. Now, here's the catch. Healthy kidneys can filter it out just fine. But if you're over 60, there's a good chance your kidney function isn't what it used to be, and you may not even know it. When that toxin builds up, it doesn't take long. We're talking hiccups, confusion, dizziness, even seizures within hours. One caregiver shared how her 68-year-old client had star fruit for the first time in a fruit salad. 2 hours later, he was slurring his speech. He couldn't stay upright. The ER doctor traced it back to the star fruit and discovered undiagnosed kidney dysfunction. And that's the scary part. You don't need to be sick. You don't need to eat much. You just need slightly weak kidneys, and you won't know it until it's too late. So what's the safer choice? Unless your doctor has specifically cleared your kidney function, skip star fruit altogether. Want that tropical flavor? Try papaya or pineapple. Much safer and easier on your system. Comment 2 below if you've ever eaten star fruit, or if you're learning this for the first time. 3. Durian, a sweet treat that could wreck your heartbeat. You might love it, you might hate the smell. But one thing's for sure, durian is powerful. And if you have heart issues, it might be the last fruit you need on your plate. Durian is loaded with potassium, and while potassium is essential for heart function, too much can tip your heart out of rhythm, especially if you take diuretics, have a history of arrhythmia, or are on blood pressure meds. What starts as a racing heart can turn into chest pressure, dizziness, or even a trip to the emergency room. Doctors in Southeast Asia have reported multiple cases of senior patients arriving with irregular heartbeats after durian binges. They thought it was just dessert, but it was quietly overloading their cardiovascular system. And here's the thing, durian doesn't feel dangerous. It feels nostalgic, creamy, comforting. But your body at 70 can't handle potassium the same way it did at 40. So how can you protect yourself? If you love tropical fruit, choose mango or papaya instead. They're sweeter on your heart and much lower in potassium. Comment 3 if you've ever had durian or if you didn't realize it could affect your heart like this. 4. Unripe banana, the healthy snack that might be wrecking your gut. You've been told bananas are easy on the stomach, right? But what if I told you the way your banana looks could make the difference between comfort and chronic bloating? Let's talk about unripe bananas, the greenish, just turned yellow ones. They may feel firm and fresh, but they're packed with resistant starch, a type of carbohydrate that's harder to digest, especially as you age. Here's what happens. After 60, your digestive enzymes naturally slow down. That means your gut has to work double time to break down that starch. The result? Gas, bloating, acid reflux, and a stomach that just feels... I remember a viewer named Dennis, 69. He ate a banana every morning before his walk, thinking it was a healthy habit. But by lunchtime, he was always uncomfortable, bloated, and reaching for antacids. His daughter finally noticed the bananas were still green. He switched to ripe ones with brown spots, and within days the bloating was gone. That's the trick. Ripe bananas are broken down into gentler sugars that are much easier to absorb. So here's the fix. If your banana still has that green tint, let it sit a few days. Look for brown speckles. Nature's sign, it's ready for your gut. Comment 4 if you've ever eaten bananas that looked fine but didn't feel fine afterward. 5. Dried pineapple, the fruit that packs more sugar than a candy bar. You grab a handful of dried fruit, thinking it's a smarter snack than cookies. But what if I told you that natural sweetness could be silently spiking your blood sugar and stressing your heart? Let's take dried pineapple. It seems harmless, chewy, tropical, just fruit, right? But here's the truth. Once the water's removed, the sugar concentrates. And in just half a cup, you're getting more sugar than a full-size candy bar, often without realizing it. And unlike fresh fruit, dried pineapple has no water or fiber left to slow digestion. That means the sugar rush hits fast, and for seniors, that can lead to blood sugar spikes, fatigue, dizziness, and eventually insulin resistance. I spoke to a woman named Carol, 67, who kept a bag of dried pineapple in her purse. It helped her avoid vending machines, but she was confused why her blood pressure kept rising. Her doctor took one look at the bag and shook his head. Here's the problem. Most dried fruits, especially pineapple, aren't just high in natural sugar. They're often coated in added sugars too. So what can you do? If you love pineapple, enjoy it fresh or frozen, in controlled portions. You'll get the taste, without the sugar shock. Comment 5 if you've ever reached for dried fruit thinking it was the better choice. We've all done it. A gentle pause. It's not your fault. And you're not alone. Let's take a moment here, because maybe you've eaten some of these fruits. Maybe for years, maybe even yesterday. And if you have that, doesn't mean you've failed. It means you've cared enough to stay informed. And you're here now, listening, learning, doing what so many don't. Choosing to protect your body before it's too late. You see, the truth is, after 60, your body doesn't process things the same. Your liver, kidneys, blood vessels, they need a little extra help. But that doesn't mean you're fragile. It means you're wise enough to adapt. You've spent decades showing up for others. This is your time to show up for yourself. So don't feel guilty. Feel empowered. You don't have to give up fruit. You just need to know which ones support your journey and which ones quietly pull you back. Let's keep going. Because the next fruit? It looks innocent, but its sugar hits faster than a spoonful of honey. 6. Overripe mango. The sweet trap that can spike your blood sugar fast. You think it's just a ripe mango, soft, sweet, comforting. But after 60, that juicy slice could hit your bloodstream like a sugar bomb. Here's why. Overripe mangoes are loaded with natural sugars, especially fructose. And unlike fiber-rich green veggies or even apples, that sugar digests fast. So fast, in fact, it can cause sudden blood sugar spikes, afternoon crashes, fatigue or brain fog after meals. And if you're managing prediabetes or taking medications to control glucose, that spike can throw your levels completely off balance. I remember Walter, 72, he swapped ice cream for mango slices thinking it was a smart switch. But he kept getting lightheaded after lunch. His nutritionist finally asked, "How ripe are those mangoes?" Turns out they were golden and mushy and delivering more sugar than he ever imagined. So what's the better way? Choose mangoes that are firm but slightly soft, and limit portions to a few slices, not a whole bowl. Better yet, pair it with a protein like Greek yogurt to soften the sugar spike. Comment 6 if you've ever had mango thinking it was the healthy choice. We've all been there. 7. Fruit juice. The natural drink that's anything but safe after 60. It says 100% juice on the label. No added sugar, no preservatives. Seems safe, right? But here's the hidden danger. Fruit juice, even pure, organic, cold-pressed, is a sugar storm in disguise. When fruit is juiced, you lose the fiber that slows digestion. And what's left? Liquid sugar. Even a small glass of orange juice can contain the sugar of 3-4 whole oranges. That's a blood pressure spike, an insulin jolt, and a crash waiting to happen, especially in older adults whose glucose regulation isn't as sharp. I met a man named Frank, 70, who was proud of switching from soda to apple juice, but he couldn't figure out why his blood sugar kept climbing. Once he cut out the juice and ate the whole fruit instead, things changed fast. Here's the bottom line. Juice floods your system with sugar faster than candy, without making you feel full. So what's the alternative? Skip the juice, eat the fruit. And if you must drink something sweet, dilute it 50/50 with water and have it with protein or fat. Comment 7 if you've ever relied on juice, or if you were shocked by how much sugar is really inside. 8. Canned fruit in syrup. the dessert disguised as fruit. You open a can thinking, it's peaches, can't be that bad. But if that fruit is floating in syrup, it might as well be candy. Here's why. Canned fruit in heavy syrup is soaked in added sugars, preservatives, and sometimes even dyes. The fruit loses nutrients during processing and the syrup turns it into a dessert, not a health food. For seniors, that means increased blood sugar, water retention, greater risk of inflammation, and if you're on diuretics or heart meds, even more complications. Barbara, 68, was eating canned pears every night, thinking she was making a smart dessert swap. But she noticed swelling in her hands and feet. Turns out the syrup was loading her with sugar and salt more than her medications could handle. So what should you do? If you like canned fruit, choose ones labeled packed in water or packed in 100% juice. Drain the liquid, rinse the fruit, then enjoy. Comment 8 if you've ever eaten canned fruit in syrup, or if you're going to check your labels more closely now. 9. Watermelon. The summer snack that silently floats your boat. You reach for it on a hot day. It feels light, hydrating, harmless. But after 60, watermelon can spike your blood sugar faster than you realize. This fruit has a very high glycemic index, meaning it digests quickly and the sugars rush into your bloodstream all at once. Without fiber or protein to slow it down, your pancreas gets overwhelmed and your blood vessels pay the price. Sudden fatigue after eating, blurred vision, or that strange afternoon crash? It might not be your meds, it could be watermelon. And here's the catch. It doesn't taste that sweet, so you don't expect the effect. But behind the refreshing flavor is a sugar surge waiting to happen. So what's the better way? Stick to small portions, just a few cubes, and pair with protein like nuts or cheese. Or choose lower GI fruits, like berries or kiwi. Comment 9 if watermelon's been in your fridge this week, and let us know if you'll see it differently now. 10. Cherries. Sweet, small, and surprisingly dangerous, in a handful. You think small fruit equals small risk. But when it comes to cherries, that logic can backfire fast. Cherries are dense in natural sugar, and because they're small and easy to snack on, most people eat far more than one portion without realizing it. That's a huge sugar load in a short time with no fiber buffer and no warning. Feeling flushed after a snack. Jittery, unexpectedly tired. That might be your blood sugar spiking and crashing behind the scenes. And for those with blood pressure issues or pre-diabetes, cherries can disrupt balance before symptoms ever show. So what's a safer move? Count your cherries, literally. Stick to no more than 7-10 at a time, and pair them with fat or protein to slow the sugar surge. Comment 10 if you've ever grabbed a handful of cherries thinking it was totally safe. 11. Grape juice, a sugar injection masquerading as a healthy choice. It's labeled heart-healthy, rich in antioxidants. But if you're over 60, grape juice may be the most deceptive drink in your fridge. Even unsweetened grape juice is extremely high in sugar and fast-digesting carbs. And without fiber to slow it down, it hits your bloodstream like a freight train, raising your blood pressure, tightening vessels, and overworking your heart. After drinking, you may feel flushed, dizzy, or notice swelling in your feet or fingers. That's not hydration, it's circulatory stress. And if you're on medication for blood pressure, cholesterol, or heart rhythm, this could quietly push you into dangerous territory. So what should you drink instead? If you love the flavor, try diluting juice 1 to 3 with water, Or better yet, eat whole grapes, in moderation, with skin and fiber intact. Comment 11 if you've ever poured grape juice thinking it was helping your heart. You know, it's not always age that slows us down. Sometimes it's the small things, like a sweet slice of fruit that feels healthy, but quietly pulls us away from the life we want to live. You don't have to give up fruit. You just need to choose the ones that work with your body, not against it. A few mindful swaps, a handful of berries instead of juice, a ripe banana instead of a green one. They might be all it takes to feel lighter, clearer, and more in control again. And I know you might be watching this in silence. Maybe while preparing lunch, or thinking about what's in your kitchen right now. But what if your next choice helps protect not just your health, but someone you love? Comment below if any of these fruits surprised you. Share this video with a friend or family member over 60, even just one. And don't forget to subscribe to HEALZO, because here, every small tip brings big hope.